What's up, everybody? Got Coach Solomon Black here on the Down with the Roots podcast. Coach is the director of an up and coming program in Vegas, Reach and Teach. They've won a lot of prominent tournaments here of late, and he's actually the second podcast that we're doing here with Down with the Roots at Grassroots 365. So some special territory. So, Coach, thanks for coming on. Kind of what we start off with everybody is, tell your story about where you started off. Maybe take it back however long you want. Maybe it's back when you were a kid. But tell us a story about Reach and Teach and how it came about and what you're doing there in Vegas.
All right, Jake, first off, appreciate you having us. It means a lot to be able to get on a platform like this, especially with us being a younger team as we are. But we have been putting in a lot of work to establish ourselves a little bit amongst some of the heavy hitters. So it's good to see that our hard work is paying off. Regency started back like 3-4 years ago, back in the city in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas to be specific. For me particularly, I have a big passion for Vegas basketball. I feel like our basketball scene doesn't get enough notoriety. I think that we put a lot of good players out, and we don't get noticed because we're not that big of a market. But every year, if you look on NCAA's tournament, Super 16, type in high-end programs, you see a lot of kids that either came through Vegas or funneled through Vegas. So at some point had some type of Vegas uniform on. And it's a passion of mine to kind of get us overall as a city, not just our program, but as a city, a little bit more notoriety. So with Reach and Teach in particular, we try to take a holistic approach to training and the basketball player, not just the games or the player, but the child, the person as a whole. So that's kind of where that comes from. And then, like I said, basketball is a microcosm for me. It's symbolic of the person that you're gonna become in life. Again, Fortune 500 companies like to hire ex-athletes. Why? Because anytime times get hard, times get rough, in the fourth quarter, like in a fiscal year, fourth quarter, they have athletes know how to kind of that tap in, that chime in, that lock in mentality. That they work better in teams, they work better under pressure. And it's those mentalities and those kind of characteristics that we want to embody within not only youth in our program, but honestly the youth that's coming up. So shout out to any program that's coming that's impacting the kids in whatever way it is. Everybody's not going to go D1. Everybody's not going to go to NBA. Everybody's not going to become a professional. But these lifestyles and these characteristics and the relationships that they make are always going to be impactful and they're going to last forever. So that's kind of where that's where we are.
That's dope. That's dope. I like it. And obviously, I mentioned that you guys have started to make some noise here of late, have won some pretty prominent tournaments, making statements and winning some games. So, what are some things that have come with that? Maybe there hasn't been much, maybe there is, but has there been much of a change with winning some of these prominent tournaments that you guys are
Well,
winning?
man, for sure. Me and my team manager, we like to call it little old reaching in the back. We like to stay our own lane. We like to keep out the spotlight as much as we can. We like to keep the work. Right now, the basketball landscape is very, very, very in the spotlight ish, and there is a time and place for that. But we like to tell our kids like, hey, put the work in, put the work in, put the work in, put the work in, and then whatever comes to that will come with that. And from that message, you start to do some major things. So with that come in, again, more of a spotlights come in a little bit, more of a name, a target on our back in some areas. Definitely like people wanting kind of like to duplicate things that we do, program players, more people wanting some of our players that weren't previously there before, so,
Sure.
the good and the bad, but, as the reputation goes, you have to weather the storm and there's all things that come with it. So we work for it and we ready for the next chapter for that too.
Yeah, no, I feel like if you guys have attention coming to you guys, that means that you're doing the right things. Even if programs are trying to steal your guys' players or whatever they're trying to do, if if you're creating that notoriety for your program for the players, I mean that means you're doing the right things. I think
Man,
so.
it's about the kids at the end of the day. They get
Yeah,
opportunities. So as long as they get the opportunity, so like you get if say something good, say something bad. Again, we're in the conversation now. So that's the main thing. We
yeah,
want to be in the conversation.
yep, yep. You mentioned I know you're a trainer in Vegas. You mentioned some of that a little bit as well. Training quite a few players there in Vegas, I'm sure that are prominent. You've seen some guys that are young and have developed on their way up. Some older kids probably that are on to the next levels. What are some things that you have learned as a trainer? You talked about the holistic approach a little bit, but over encompassing everything. Have been some things that you've learned, and then also, things that you think translate? What's your approach to training overall?
Man, honestly, I've been blessed to be in front of a lot of good players, and I feel like just from training and coaching over the last couple years has actually transformed my life in a lot of ways. And I think that the whole argument, nature versus nurture, that's really where I go boil down to. And I'm now a big advocate for the work. It doesn't matter where you start. I've seen it. I've seen top kids fall off. I've seen kids that couldn't dribble and blink at the same time now start to become more prevalent. And honestly, parent support, like it's parent support. As we see these lists drop, and we see there's a couple lists to drop. The ranking system, that's a big thing right now with ranking systems and kids, which, feel how you ever you want to feel about it. But however, every kid that I noticed when we dropped a ranking system and stuff like that, I could always see a parent behind each kid. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, this kid, I'm like, oh, that's so and so's son. That's so and so's son. That's so and so's kid. And I'm like, you can clock every hour. There's not one player on any of those lists that you're not clocking those hours. If you look at top 10 players, they're clocking hours. It's just that simple. I don't know, not one is just naturally gifted. Every kid in that top 10, I can go back and I can check their parents. I know their parents. I know they might have it in their social, whatever. They are clocked in. So it's that natural born ability. I tell kids, listen, it doesn't matter where you start from, especially who cares if you're the top ranked third grader, fifth grader, who cares? You know, they might end up being gamers one day. But if the kids are clocked in, and it's, again, like I want to go back to it, basketball is a microcosm for life. Anything
Mm-hmm.
that you put your time and effort into, and you log your 10,000 hours into it, and you put your heart and soul into it, you're going to get better at it. Whether it be good things, whether it be bad things, right? The community that you're around, the people that you surround yourself, the things that you impart into your body, your mind, and your spirit, those things are going to come into fruition. So again, as a trainer, I'm noticing that. That's one thing I put heavy emphasis. So if you're clocked in, you putting the time in, you putting the work in, it's going to show in one way or another. And I think the final thing is let people go through their own process. Don't
I
compare
think
don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to what everybody else is doing. Work, run your race, win your process.
we might have a sound bite there. That might be our sound bite of the podcast. Is a
Man,
microcosm of life. So, uh, and then kind of moving on, like you mentioned a little bit about the rankings. Some different things that I think are going on in grassroots basketball as a whole right now. Um, I don't know what your thoughts are on the rankings. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. But grassroots in general, like what are some things that you think are positive in the state of grassroots basketball that we're in right now, and what would be something that you would say needs to go? It's got to change. Maybe talk about how you would change it. But what are your thoughts on that?
honestly, again, I would say that we have to be very leery of what's going on, right? It's I think honestly, it all starts with the NBA. I think the NBA does a very, very good job of marketing. I think that it's marketing concept of able to reach so many different people in different platforms in different cities. It's expanded the game probably at a rate that no other sport has been able to do right now. So what that has done is that's facilitated down to the rising tide lifts all boats, and that's facilitated down all the way to the grassroots and the youth level, where beforehand you didn't have some of these problems to you as like a highly touted
Mm-hmm.
junior in college, right? So now you're looking at I joke around say that high school is a new college, middle school is a new high school, And elementary school is the new middle school. Like it's you're bidding for players,
Everything's
recruiting players, and stuff
yeah.
that like is unheard of. And kids wanting now, you have to be very careful with the message that we're sending. We have to be very careful with the message that you're receiving, and then I think you just have to have a really really strong foundation, right? Kids want mixtapes for workouts now. They want to be rewarded to go to practice. You know what I'm saying? Like they need a mixtape to go to practice, they need inspiration to go to practice. And then like they want NIL deals if they can make 4 free throws in a row. Like it's kind of blossomed out of control. And I feel like the ones who are able to keep themselves grounded in the work. And it's also weird because you can be known for basketball and not even really be good at basketball nowadays. Like in the social media realm, there's a lot of people that play basketball that don't have any resumes or stuff like that not even basketball. So it's very interesting. But I think in the ranking systems, if parents keep it for what it is, right, it might be a check mark for where you are, but it's not an end goal, right? It's not an end goal. It's not a stopping point. It's a check mark. If you're not on that list, your career is not over. If you are on that list, your career is not over. I tell our kids, if we win a game, we lose a game. Either way, what do? Get back in the lab. So I think a lot of the emphasis needs to be back on development. I think the positive is I think the skill development has come to an all-time high. Um, it's very much kids are very much more skilled than they were previously. They're doing things that we wouldn't even think to do in early stages, which is good. But I feel like at the same time, just maybe like the mental aspect of the game might change a little bit. The parents, I struggle sometimes with parents because like as adults, we really got to be the ones that lead us and guide us, and it's not the end of the world. So when you sometimes have parents and they have fifth graders that are highly ranked and they lose their stuff. I'm like, but what puberty looks like as a parent. You know what I'm saying? You know how this goes as a parent. The kids don't know what it's like a 13-year-old, 10-year-old. But as a parent, you have to stay rooted. You have to stay your foundations. And I think Grassroots provides a good avenue, right? It provides a good avenue for kids to kind of play other people, stuff like in other realms and other cities. I think it has connected kids a lot closer than before. Like you might have kids on the East Coast, West Coast that are friends now because of some like the camps and stuff that they've been able to go through. And a lot of these top end kids are friends. They're friends. Like they know each other. No matter what they rank, they know each other. They communicate. So I think the togetherness of it is a good thing to it. But I think that if you don't have good foundations and solid within yourself, it can kind of become a negative. It can kind of make you jump ship and jump teams. Don't sit the process. Get into a mental game, and a lot of kids are struggling with mental things right now as well. So that's a big thing.
Parents are a problem with you guys, or not?
Our parents, we were good with parents until I think we started getting to where we were. We were pretty solid with our parents. We were
Yeah.
really solid. I was very thrilled with our parents, and I think that over some of the shifts, we started to get some of the side chatter, and it got to us a little bit. For the most part, we had been solid, but that's something that you kind of weather. And I also look at everything from the top down. If you have good leadership, I think that's always going to be resolve a lot of the issues that you have.
I used to be involved with somebody, work with somebody that had a saying. He would say that with parents, that is, that parents would come up and complain about different things, and he would ask, what's your main job? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? And they'd say, I'm a lawyer or accountant, and
Do
he'd
that.
say, well, I'm in basketball. I do this. This is what I
Yeah,
do for. And
yeah.
obviously he's a prominent figure. I'm not going to say his name or anything like that, but obviously parents can be a headache for directors and coaches and everything like that. So,
I have
what's
heard of a pro athlete who quit coaching because parent complaints.
yeah,
a
yeah,
pro athlete. Our saying with Rich teachers, keep the main thing the main thing.
that's a good
I
one.
start saying, keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is the kids.
That's a
Main thing
good
is the
one.
kids. As long as it's for the kids, that's the main thing. The main thing. We don't
Yeah,
want no everything else is youth basketball. It's youth basketball, y'all. It's youth basketball. We love it. It's youth basketball. But keep the main thing the main thing. Keep the focus
yeah,
on the kids.
no doubt, no doubt. Obviously, you guys are a newer program. What has been something as a program director? Obviously, there's tons of programs that are popping up day after day. But if you could tell your younger self something about being a program director or somebody that's coming up that's starting their own program, what would you say? What's been one thing that you've learned?
Set good foundations. Set good foundations. Quality over quantity. With the landscape of how basketball is right now, a lot of people are trying to get their hands on a lot of stuff. There's a lot of tournaments, a lot of stuff. Quality over quantity, right? Put an emphasis on development. I'm not too mad at how we did go about it so far because I think for me, I did sit back and I was under people before I started. We have other people that I sat at the bench, and I think that I came out this thing very humble. Before I was a director, I was an assistant coach sometimes, and I'd be the main one, get water, whatever you guys need, and be of servitude first. So I think where we are now, again, setting solid foundations. Stand on what you do. Don't let the game change you. Don't let there's going to be a lot of pushback and stuff. Don't let it change you. Remember why you started. And like I said, keep the main thing the main thing. Let it be about the kids. Let it be about the kids.
Yeah. Moving on, if you had to build, and keep in mind this is public, so you're calling people out a little bit, but if you had to build your perfect event, obviously you guys have been to quite a few, probably locally, maybe nationally. I don't know how far you guys have gone to travel yet, but what would be something about the event itself that you're looking for, but more importantly, who are some teams locally that you guys maybe like to play? Maybe they're your friends. Maybe you've never played them before. Maybe you've had a good battle with them. It could be local. It could be national. I mean, maybe it's somebody you've never played before that you want to play. But kind of what would your perfect event look like?
Perfect event, I would say variety, right? Some of the events, you know who's going to win it you're going to know who the top three teams are as soon as you get in there, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's like a big jump between the top three and then the bottom. Not say bottom, but the remaining party. So I would say variety. Okay. Again, if we're just talking about holistically, you want to help kids develop. So you want to get a team that's in there that's super scrappy, right? You want to get a team in there that's super skilled. You want a team that get in there that's just super absurdly big, right? You want a team that might be short and shifty. That way you kind of give your kids an opportunity to play these things because at the end of the day, they need those experiences to go in their brain, their database, to say, hey, I've been in these situations before, right? Mm-hmm. So it is good to have a blowout. It is good to have a close game. It is good to have a down by 10. It's good by up by 10, how to maintain a lead. So, again, with that being the case, for a fact, we know we had to start with Vegas Elite. Man, Vegas Elite. Listen, we battled 6 Blue, 5 Blue since they were every up the rank. We've been going back and forth with them. I've been able to been training a couple of those players too. I know they're good. Against
they're good, yeah.
And my neighbors and down the street from us, like we battle them, and we always show them love. That's a rule with us. We're always going to show them love. We're not playing them. When we don't play them and they're out of state, we're going to be their number one fans. However, when we lace up and they lace up, we're going to go to war for sure.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to get them in any major events yet, but they know that that's one team that does keep us in line. I feel like they keep us on our toes. They keep us motivated. They keep us there. So that's good.
Now, do you guys get to play them in Vegas at all, or no?
We play them. We actually played them last week. We actually played them last week.
Okay.
It's not rare. I purposely don't try to. I try to space out some time in between if we do play them, and we usually.
I would feel like Vegas kind of gets old of playing one another all the time.
They do a good job. They don't play a lot local. It's not really no point. Like it's a couple of us out here that's kind of separate ourselves, where it's not really one point to play the same teams over and over.
Where you just can't do it. It would be everyone playing each other over and over.
Yeah, and we're actually blessed to be a destination city, so we don't have to do a lot of travel. To get people come here all the time. Over the summer, I think over 900 teams come here over the summer.
Yep,
we are blessed to do that. Yeah. We're a destination city. But
Guard Dogs, more honestly.
Guard Dogs is on there. They're a real scrappy team. They come with that chip on the shoulder every time. Gauchos, we have not been able to Gauchos. I want to try Gauchos.
Now Gauchos from where?
New York.
Okay.
New York, and then another team. That I have to shout them out. They probably not even aware of us. They're probably not even aware of us. But we bumped them in one tournament.
We're putting you guys on the map right now, so.
They're not even aware of us, but we bumped them in one tournament.
We need to. What's that?
Drive Nation.
Drive Nation.
We played
Okay.
a team called Drive Nation. They
Out of Texas.
reshaped. Yes, they
Yeah.
reshaped the landscape of our program. Listen, we were solid at that point. We were doing good. We thought we were doing something. We had our set how we were going to go as a program, our practices, everything like that. I remember we were in the semifinals of a tournament, and people was like, "You guys are one of the best teams I've seen." Blah blah blah. We were feeling good about ourselves. Man, we played those boys, and they put the belt to us so bad. They put the belt to us so bad, and it was like it wasn't even one of those games. You like, man, come on, y'all. It's when me and my assistant coach, he's like, hey, how
Nothing
much
you
time
can
left?
do.
We was like, hey, it's levels to this, and we just realized like we're not on that level. We're just not on
Yeah.
that level. No matter what we do, there's no coaching I'm finna do. We're not on that level, and
Right.
that reshaped the whole landscape of what we do. Which is, I think, that is the key of grassroots of what you guys do or what we do at AAU basketball. It could let you know, listen, you thought you were doing something, and you thought that what you were doing is not enough, right? So now we tell our new parents that come in and listen, you guys may think that some of the stuff that we do is extreme, and we might be some local teams by 30, 40, whatever, but listen, there's some fish out there that's bigger than what we are, I promise you. And what we do, you might think is a lot, but it's mandatory just to even step on the floor of some of these teams.
Sure.
And you won't know that, like the parents that we got that haven't traveled like that, you don't know that yet because you ain't seen anything. But trust me, all this extreme stuff that you think we're doing in 3 or 4 or 5, 6 days a week that you got to work with, listen, this is mandatory to be on this stage.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. No, Drive Nation is definitely another big brand. I think they've been to some of our Texas events, so aware of those guys.
Shout out, Drive
We'll
Nation. Shout
yeah,
out Vegas.
would you guys give them a game though if you guys played them now, or I mean, it
Which we don't,
sounds like you played them
hey,
early.
listen. I hope we want listen all the smoke. We want all the smoke. Whoever come out there,
All
we
right,
want all the
good.
smoke. We want
I
all the
got
smoke. So
you. Good.
again, it's those games that shape us who we are. We want all the smoke.
Yeah. Last question. Obviously, you guys have a new program that people are starting to be aware of. Who are some kids that are coming up in your guys' program, any age group, that maybe a lot of people talk about, but maybe some kids that also aren't as much talked about that you feel as though people should be on the lookout for? Just talk
Well,
to those kids.
we're gonna start with my headliners, right? I have a kid, fifth grader named Zamar Burrell. Again, if you don't know about him, you know about him. He's probably top 10 in the nation for sure. He's top 10 nation kid for sure. He plays up to seventh grade, eighth grade sometimes, fifth grader. Hold his own. In my training sessions, he goes against high school seniors, right? And I tell the
Wow.
seniors, I was like, listen, do y'all when they play him, I'm like, listen, you better play him. I'm like, do you think he's afraid of you? He's not afraid of you. He's not afraid of you by any. He's fearless. Again, he's a testament to hard work. He'll wake up at 5 a.m. and do a session. He'll do a 4 p.m. session and he'll do a 9 p.m. session in the same day and won't complain. So he's a testament to hard work. I got my kid Price Long, Price Christian. He's one again. You see them on a kind of on your circuits every time you have a tournament. They're usually on
Hmm.
the MVP list or on the top 10 or something like that. So those are kind of
Sure.
our more known kids. Um, um, I have three brothers that are kind of underrated. Warner brothers, I have three brothers. They're kind of underrated, so I think they're coming up. They're developing really nicely, and I have a couple kids that, again, in our program that came to us looking a lot different than how they look right now. So I think, yeah,
Long way to go.
they do got a long way to go, but
Yeah, meaning everyone, but long. It's good to get those kids some attention, and obviously everyone's got a long way to go in this journey that
another
we're in.
player started with us, Malcolm Pegues. He plays in Vegas League right now.
Okay,
He's
okay,
he's an OG reach and teach. He's a day one reach and teach. He's actually one of the players that helped me start the program.
okay.
So I'm listening. I love to see his development. He comes with us every once in a while, but he's a reach and teach a green and black player from day one. But
I got
there's a
you.
lot of players out there that's developing. Some that I coach and some that I also train. I think that
Yeah.
there's a lot that's gonna be coming up.
Well, shout out to those kids. Shout out to Reach and Teach. Appreciate you coming on, Coach. That's all we got for the Down with the Roots podcast. We'll be posting this here in about a week, and we're big Reach and Teach fans over here at Grassroots 365. So appreciate you coming on.
Man, we appreciate you guys. We know every time we come to an event, I think we have not had one single grassroots event that we like, that was a waste of our time. There's been a couple events, big and small. We're not going to drop no names. And sometimes like, oh, we don't know if that was worth the trip or worth the time. But there's not been one that we at least didn't get something out of it. I think you guys do a good job of maintaining some kind of credibility, some form of credibility. I know that you do an excellent job of reaching out to make sure that it is, no matter the name or circuit, that you do bring out good teams, and then doing things like, again, finding programs like us that may be overlooked in other programs because we didn't have a name, and giving us a platform to do what we do. So I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I appreciate you guys being innovative and kind of trailblazers in the market. And I hope to see much more success, and you will see plenty of Reach and Teach coming on more grassroots circuits. So we're ready to go.
We appreciate that. So appreciate you, my brother, and we'll be seeing you soon. And you got it. That's our second episode, Down with the Roots podcast. Coach Solomon Black with Reach and Teach. Appreciate you.
All right.